You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney theme parks podcast, and this is show 303 for Sunday, the 8th of March, 2020.
Where dreams begin.
Well, hello and welcome to the Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hey up there, Jane.
Hey up, me duck. Sorry, that was a very Derbyshire thing you just said there. Hey up.
I know. Getting all colloquial and all that, you know what it's like.
It's funny when there's one of those expressions that I know is associated with Derbyshire, but it's so rare that I actually say it, even though I obviously do live in Derbyshire.
Oh,
this just sounds very peculiar.
Well, lovely, we've got a fun-packed show ahead. But before we move on to some of our fun features and guest interview,
yes,
how's your Disney living life going at the moment?
It's going all right. I've been quite busy because we've just moved the preschool that I manage into a brand new building, so we're finding our feet there. I've just got my husband safely back in this country as he's been in the old US of A, visiting Boston for a computer games conference. Yeah, you know how these things go. So the good thing was I got Disney presents because he's very kind and he went shopping and found a Uniqlo. Because we don't get Uniqlo over here, really, do we? So, and he suddenly remembered that they do Disney bits. So I got 2 Minnie Mouse T-shirts from my lovely hubby and some American chocolate.
He found your Milky Way.
Yeah, he couldn't find the dark ones. Like you had trouble, didn't you, finding me the dark ones back in the end of the last year? But yeah, so I've got milk chocolate ones, but I shall live with that. I will not complain because I also got Hershey's cookies and cream, which is like, yummy.
Oh, bless him. He's the best.
He knows how to look after me. After 30 years of marriage, I think she should do, shouldn't he, really?
Well, I don't know if you saw, I posted this on our podcast family page this last week. At the weekend, I thought, I'll get some travel insurance for Tom because I took out an annual policy before I went to California in December. And with all the surgeries I've had and the fact I've got asthma, my insurance for the year, including cruise cover, was £64, which is round about $85 roughly.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'll get Tom's.
Yeah.
You know, coronavirus, big cruise payment due. Just want to be safe. I'm going to get my money back if there's an issue.
Yeah.
His premium, bearing in mind we are the same age and he has got no health issues, £116, roughly about $145.
Is that for the year, Michelle?
That's
or is that
a year policy.
For a year.
But mine was a year, so it's nearly doubled.
Are we presuming then that this is because of said coronavirus?
There's no presuming about it. I am 100% sure that insurers have hiked up their rates because they know there is going to be bad news ahead, that trips are going to have to be cancelled. But at the moment, they will only repay money if the Foreign Office, etc., say, no, you're not travelling to that country.
Yeah, I don't know whether this is the forum, Michelle, to get into my thoughts on the coronavirus, but I think it's been a little bit OTT.
In the media? People selling off antibacterial hand wash on eBay for ridiculous prices.
And masks, face masks, which do you no good because it's only the only point in them is if you've actually got the virus. If you haven't got the virus, putting a face mask on will do nothing. Oh yes, I'm getting a bit wound up about it all now. I'm a little bit of a sceptical person, as you probably well know, Michelle, and it seems very convenient that we've got all this hype about this at the moment, and it's distracting from other stories in the press, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe that's me.
Don't get me wrong. I think the fact that people are dying from this is tragic. And the fact that people are being infected and maybe the treatment of the people that are being infected isn't quite what it could be. Stories of people being not getting tested as they should be, being left and abandoned in cruise ships or in hotels all over the world and things.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
not great.
No.
And I don't think it's a time for people to profiteer out of it.
No.
So, our good friend UK Diz Dad over on Twitter, Dom Hodgson, he and his family had an Asian Disney trip planned.
Okay.
And it's not looking so good. So I really do feel for people who have got trips that having to cancel, reschedule and whatever because of what's happening.
Yeah, it's a very peculiar situation to be in because we're not scientific experts, we're not doctors, we don't know the full extent of what is going off or what isn't going off to that extent. And all we can do is take heed from whatever our governments tell us, is a good place to go to or not a good place to go to. The thing with this is, if from an insurance point of view, if your Foreign Office say we are not allowing you to go to insert name of country, you're okay. But if you decide that you don't want to go because you don't want to run the risk, then unfortunately most insurances will not cover that.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the tricky thing going forward, depending on how this thing pans out.
Now, my top tip would be always pay for travel on a credit card because it's a lot easier to get money back through that way rather than your bank. That's just from personal experience. Yeah. When I had a trip planned to go to New York and it got cancelled literally at the airport because of snow.
Yes. Yeah. I think I agree with you, Michelle. If you can pay on your credit card, then do that. But, travel insurance, especially for us guys when we're travelling international, I wouldn't personally do international travel without travel insurance. It's just daft.
No. And as I mentioned, Dom, a bit earlier on, I know a lot of people at the moment have got some trips planned to go to Disneyland Paris at the moment. They are fine. They are not closing as of recording today.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some great vlogs that you might want to go check him out on YouTube, ukdizdad.com. Go and have a look. It might answer some questions you've got about going to Paris and is a great source of getting some information as well. Right, so are we ready to crack on with the show?
Crack on, my dear.
Well, we've been hinting for a few weeks that we've got the wonderful Erin Foster from the Unofficial Guide to Disney Cruise Line as a guest coming up on the show. And I know our Patreon supporters had the entire interview that I did with Erin available to them a fair few weeks now. But I listened again and I tweaked things around and edited bits out, and we've got a condensed interview we'd like to share with you now on the show where she's talking about Disney Cruise Line in general, what's coming ahead, and then I'm going on the Disney Cruise Line. I had a few questions about Alaska I just needed to ask. So let's listen in to what Erin has got to say.
Cool.
Where dreams begin.
So hello and welcome to the Disney Dream Girls, Erin Foster.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I was looking at my notes before we were coming on air, and it's literally just over 2 years since we last spoke. So thank you for sparing the time to come back on again and talk Disney Cruise Line.
2 years too long, so I'm grateful to be back.
Do you know what? If our schedules allowed it, we'd have cruise line chat twice a year.
Excellent. Yes, should do that. Okay.
I am very, very excited. As our lovely friends will know, I have got a really big Disney Cruise Line trip planned for later this year. But before we go on and have Erin help us a little bit with that, I thought we could just have a little chat about what you personally have been up to for the last 2 years. Where have you been able to travel to and what have you been able to see and do?
The last 2 years, I go to Disney World all the time. I just back a few days ago from 2 weeks there, and I spent a lot of time exploring all of the Disney resorts. I visited every single one, and I had done some of the Galaxy's Edge stuff, but I got to go on Rise of the Resistance 3 times over the course of about a week, so that was super fun. I've been on several Disney cruises, the Key West, on the Wonder. I was on the Fantasy over New Year's Eve. I've did a double dip on the Dream recently. I have a couple things coming up. I'm planning to do the Japan Adventures by Disney in 2021, and that's what I'm most excited about. So 2 of my children are going to be graduating from college in 2021, and that's going to be their big reward is our trip to Japan with Adventures by Disney.
Oh, wow. Lots of travel plans. Japan must be something that you are eagerly anticipating?
Mostly because I want to go to, Tokyo Disney. That's my my little thing. I mean, the rest of my family wants to explore all of Japan, and of course I do too. But mostly I want to. I've been to many of the Disney parks around the world, but I've not been to the Tokyo Disney. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
And how many days do you reckon you'll be able to sneak in?
Probably, it's a long trip, and so we have to be away for a long time. I'll probably end up getting like maybe 3 days there, I hope, in addition to the rest of the trip, which is, I think, 11 or 12 days.
Wonderful. You'll have to keep us posted on your adventures. That sounds really exciting.
I will. I'm looking forward to it.
I am so jealous. So jealous. It's one place I've not yet been to. I have friends who have been, and it sounds the most amazing place.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, let's go back to the cruise lines and think a little bit about the new ships that we've got coming in from 2021, 22 and 23. Now, we know one of the names is the Disney Wish. We don't have any more info, though.
No more info. People are speculating about the names of the other two ships, Imagination, Adventure, but nobody knows. And there's so much speculation about what are going to be the features of the new ships. Will they cabin sizes be any different? Will there be different forms of entertainment? How will the restaurants be themed? Just truly a million questions. And also questions about where the ship's going to be ported and sail. Been some pretty substantiated stuff that at least the first new ship will be ported in Port Canaveral, have its home base in Port Canaveral in Florida. Mm-hmm. So does that mean that one of the other ships, particularly the Magic or the Wonder, that's older, is it going to sail out of Miami, which is a decent possibility, more year round? Will it spend more time in Europe? The Magic, it's just this point, it's a million questions that we have not a lot of answers to. So it's very frustrating for me trying to write about, and Len, my co-author, Len Testa, has a lot of contacts at the cruise line, and even they are not being very forthcoming, and usually he has a good scoop on a lot of rumors, but they're keeping it locked down pretty tight. Right now we're just having a lot of fun speculating.
Well, knowing Len, and I've had Len on the show quite a few times over the last couple of years, I think he'd be going down the route of the Disney Jammy Dodger, because he's particularly fond of these UK biscuits. Just saying.
He is. I know that. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be just so crazy? Nothing to do with Disney whatsoever, but a complete hoot. Wouldn't it be great if in 2021 the Disney Wish went to the Asian parks and you were able to maybe squeeze a cruise on there?
Would be absolutely fabulous. Although one thing we're pretty sure of is that the sailings won't actually be available to general guests until 2022, even with the Wish. They're saying it's going to be delivered to Disney in 2021, towards the end of 2021, and then the first sailing for guests will probably be in January of 2022. So the dates that they've said are a little bit misleading for guests. So usually they give about 15 months or so notice for booking sailings. So assuming that the first real sailing for guests will be in January of 2022 for the Wish, you back that up, it's probably going to be fall of this year before we see a lot more information. We're possibly September, October, when we're going to get more real details about where the different ships are sailing for when the new ships come on board.
Yeah. I'd like to suggest my name because I am obsessed with Snow White, and for the Disney company that was their first full-length feature animated film, so I think it needs to be the Disney Snow White. Just putting that one there.
I like it, but I have a feeling they're going to go with these sort of broad thematic names, the dream, the wish, the fantasy. Who knows? I agree. Maybe Snow White will be they have the statue in the middle of each atrium. That would be a good thing. They have like Mickey and Minnie and Ariel, and Snow White would be a great addition to the atrium of one of the new ships.
That would, and also the two current themes on the other two ships is Art Deco and Art Nouveau. So it'll be interesting to see what they're going to put in, what style, whether it's going to be different.
From the concept art I've seen of the ship exteriors, I have a feeling it's going to look quite similar on the outside. But you're right, we don't even know. It could be Frank Lloyd Wright arts and crafts for all we know on the interior. We don't have a lot of information about what the insides are going to look like.
Well, you do know the Halcyon is a star cruiser. Maybe one of them could be a star cruiser for the seas. You never know. Could it be a completely Star Wars themed vessel?
That would be a great idea. I doubt that's the way they're going to go, but it would be really fun. I mean, they certainly have the Star Wars Days at Sea, and I got to see one of the more recent releases on release day on one of the ships. Anyway, yeah, that would be really fun. They are building the whole Star Wars themed hotel in Florida, so that might be their start on that idea.
You never know. I've
Never know.
maybe just given a Disney executive an idea right now.
And they won't give you any credit, I'm sure.
They didn't give me credit for the Snow White meal at Artist's Point, so,
Ah, uh-huh.
But I keep battling that on with these Snow White themed ideas, and one day I'll get the credit. But
Exactly. Okay.
okay, so what I'd like to just have a little chat about now is the Disney Wonder. Basically, it's a little bit selfish here because that's the ship I'm going on in August to Alaska, and I've done the Disney Cruise Line on the Fantasy before, so I've got a vague idea of what I'm expecting. But with it being a smaller ship, and it's a completely different feel going to Alaska than the Caribbean, so I'm just really wanting some advice from you to, firstly, in general, about the Wonder. Can you help me out on that?
So I actually truly strongly prefer the smaller ships, the Magic and the Wonder. And I have a very soft spot in my heart for the Wonder because that was the first ship I was on. I was most recently on the Wonder almost exactly a year ago for New Year's Eve. I truly love, I think the smaller ships are better, nicer, happier than the big ones. Not that, there's anything wrong with the Fantasy and the Dream, but the smaller ships, it's more intimate. You get to know not just your wait staff, like in the dining rooms, but the entertainment staff, because they're dealing with fewer guests. I feel like we get to know the names of more of the staff on the small ships, and they got to know my name. It just feels more intimate and friendly. And they're also on the Magic and the Wonder, there are piano bars, which I just love. I'm not such a big dance person, but there's the bar where there's just a pianist in the evening, and they'll play, like, one night it'll be Billy Joel songs or Beatles songs or whatever, or, show tunes from Broadway or whatever. And people sort of like gather around and they might sing along or they make a request. And it just seems sort of more elegant and old-fashioned in a way that I find personally very appealing. I really would not be at all concerned about the smallness of the ship. As far as Alaska, I have to say Alaska is right at the top of my list of itineraries. I go to the Caribbean on DCL all the time, and it's certainly nice when it's freezing out here. To go to the warm weather, to go to Castaway Cay, which is lovely. And I grew up in Maine in the U.S., which I don't know if your listeners are super familiar with, but it's like almost Alaska on the other side of the country. It's the very top of the East Coast of the U.S. And so I'm used to cold weather and that sort of thing. But I just found the scenery in Alaska to be breathtaking in a way that I had not anticipated. The day that you go up into the glacier, you are just surrounded by these walls of ice with, like, we literally saw like seals on icebergs 20 feet from the ship, and there are like mountain goats hopping up and down the forest and you can't really if you're used to Caribbean sailing, you can't really get a handle on how close you are to the shore. So you're going up in this glacier and you're really, like, I want to say within 100 feet of the shore, like, wow, kind of all the time. And so you really can see the land and see what's happening, and you can, hear the nature around you. I found it just incredibly breathtaking. One tip for Alaska that I found for the ship was a lot of people, particularly on the glacier observation day, will be up on the top pool deck, decks like 10, 11, whatever. And it's really great for like photography of the whole glacier and that sort of thing. And then I had to run down to our cabin, and we had a stateroom, I want to say on like a very low deck that for that particular like deck 2 maybe for that cruise. And looking out our our porthole, the view was entirely different. So you go up on the top deck and it's like this incredible panoramic vista of all of nature around you. And then you're on these low decks, even like deck 4, like the running track, you can see the animals kind of up close, in a different way. So one of my suggestions is to, during that long day where you're in the glacier, vary which deck you're on for a while. So, obviously go up to the top deck and see the whole glacier all around you, but then go to, take a lap on the walking deck 4. And then, even, if you have a stateroom that's on a lower level, look out your porthole, because like there might be like a seal on a glacier, like at nearly eye level, depending on where you are on the ship.
Wow.
So I thought that was marvelous.
I'm on, I think, deck 7, and I've got
Yeah.
I splurged. I couldn't
Huh?
manage to get a proper veranda, and I ended up with a navigator's veranda.
Yeah, that's fine. You can see out. Yeah, that's great. But just walk around the ship and you'll see different things from different angles. A lot of people are nervous about the Alaska trip because they're afraid of being cold. But you hear the adage like there's no bad weather, only bad clothing. My advice is to just pack a lot of layers. Nobody worries too much about like looking fancy. I felt like often in the Caribbean or especially when I've taken the DCL trips to Europe, people tend to get like more dolled up for dinner, and some do in Alaska. But my feeling was that it was like you're wearing your jeans and your sweater kind of all day, and then you just sort of walk into the dining room and that. So it felt more casual and more cozy to me. I don't know.
That's a really good point, because I was thinking, oh, do I need to take loads of really dressy clothes? And then I thought I might be cold during the day. But I am going to be in that hot tub with a cocktail or two. We're sort of going on the route, well, we've paid the extra money because we wanted the veranda, but it's then left us a little bit bereft with funds for all the excursions. Can you help me out a little bit with regards to the excursions, and just sort of, is there any that you say you have to do, even if it means selling your middle child, Michelle? And any that you should, you don't recommend as much?
I have been on, I lost count, but many Disney cruises, and I have to say that the favorite excursion that I've ever done was on the Alaska cruise. It is sadly quite expensive. My husband and my oldest daughter were on that sailing with me, and we took a helicopter to the Mendenhall Glacier, and we went dog sledding on the glacier. It was hideously expensive, but one of the most breathtaking things I've ever seen. So you get in the helicopter and you fly to the glacier, and it's like you're landing on the ice planet Hoth in Star Wars, and so you're like, it's like this mass of white, and you get closer and closer. You see there are these like igloo shaped tents, and you see there are like puppies everywhere. You go and you land on the glacier, and there are, I want to say, like 50 of these like igloo tent things with these incredibly well-trained dogs, and they hook the dogs up onto this sled, and they like take you a mile around the glacier with the puppies, and then afterwards you get to like hug the dogs for a while on the glacier. And it was so different than anything I had ever done.
Wow.
There are several versions of dog sledding though that are less expensive. And I apologize, but I haven't looked at the exact list right now. But I have several friends that have done dog sledding, not on the glacier, just sort of like in the forest. And then there's even one that you can go on dog sledding where it doesn't even have to be icy. Like if there's been a thaw or something, they'll do it on just like trails. So, there are variations of a lot of these different things. So that, it depends on your budget or whatever, but I thought the interactions with the well-trained sled animals were really incredible.
That sounds a really amazing thing. Oh, I don't think the budget's going to go that way. I think we were going to do one of the trips where you go on the Yukon Railway. That to me sounds amazing.
It was truly beautiful. I forget, again, there are several different versions of it, but we, bring a good camera for that, because there's just so many incredible views of the train going up into the mountains, and then you can see these panoramic views of the trees and the forest, and then some of them you'll get the ship and the harbor in it as well. And then always keep your eyes peeled at the tree line for eagles and hawks and owls and that sort of thing, depending on what kind of day it is. And lots of creatures. Like, that was really one of the funnest thing. Like, spot the goat, spot the owl, spot the eagle, that kind of thing. They sell binoculars on the ship, but if you have some, that's a good thing to bring for Alaska, so that you can constantly scan for the fun wildlife. Some people saw bears. Yeah.
Oh wow! What about, would I see whales from the ship?
Some people do. I personally didn't. There are lots of excursions that involve whale watching, where they'll take you out in a smaller boat to areas, in the various harbors where they know that whales tend to congregate. So those are, there are excursion options that involve whales. Some people have seen whales and dolphins from the ship. I personally have not, though.
I'm torn, because we could do the whale watching excursion on the day we're in Vancouver before the cruise, or we could do it while we're on the cruise. And I'm like, not sure which way around to go.
Have you been to Vancouver before? Vancouver is a beautiful city. Yeah.
I haven't, no.
Yeah, so it depends. I mean, I don't know how much time you have, but it depends on, like, do you want to do city things while you're there, or do you want to do nature things while you're there?
Okay, so we've talked a little about the excursions. We need to talk food, because, hello, it's a cruise line, and some of the eateries, oh my word, you've got to tell me more.
Well, just in general, Palo is one of my favorite places to eat in the world, particularly Palo brunch. I mean, Palo brunch is, I don't even have words for it, but it's the most spectacular thing. But one of the fun things about Alaska is they will pick one night, and they'll have, like, the Alaska menu. They do have the usual menus, particularly the first 3 nights in the main rotational ones, but they'll have Alaska night that's the same menu on all of the main dining room, each of the main dining room restaurants, and they'll have Alaskan specialties. So they'll have like elk meat, or elk sausage and salmon and that sort of thing. And they have lots of other, more traditional things if that's not what you want to try. But it was really fun. And I'm trying to remember, I'm like 99% sure that they barbecued salmon up on the deck for people.
Oh.
That was really interesting and fun.
That does sound a lot of fun. And there's nothing like seeing the food being cooked in front of you to know.
Right.
Oh,
right.
I'm salivating already. Oh, my word. And I must admit, we've sort of said we're going to try and get Paolo on one of the sea days for the brunch, and definitely eat there one evening, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 stops, ports as they technically call them: Dawes, Skagway, Juneau, Ketchikan.
Absolutely, Palo. Twice, 3 times. They won't let you book it more than like one brunch and one dinner in advance. But I've had several times where you go up and you make sad eyes. And you're like, I really like it here. Can I come again? And they've let us have a second dinner up there,
My friend Erin said, I'll try that one. Okay, let's talk a little bit about our listeners here who have probably considered booking a cruise but haven't, or maybe have got their first cruise book. I have in my hand the Unofficial Guide to Disney Cruise Line 2020, and inside this said book you will have 430 pages. So tell everybody a little bit about this amazing guide that you can either read, retain the information, or take it with you, or whatever. Come on, tell us all about it.
You can also buy it on a Kindle, or read it on your iPad or whatever too. So if you don't want to bring a heavy book and you're bringing something else anyway, that's another way to do it. We go into great detail about all of the ships and what's on all the ships, the restaurants, the activities, the sports, that sort of thing. We talk a lot at the beginning about money, how to save money, what are the best times to book your cruise to save money. We talk a lot about the staterooms. So there are, depending on what ship you're on, there are more than 20 different categories of stateroom, depending on the square footage, the number of people it sleeps, the type of bedding, the place on the ship, the forward, aft, any of, the 7 or 8 different decks. And you were mentioning verandas. There's like 5 different kinds of verandas. Like there's a wide one. There's one that's got a glass wall. There's one that's got like a white metal wall. And they're all various prices. And we talk a lot in the book about how to decide what's best for you and which one might save you a little bit of money. We talk a lot about the ports and some of the key things to do in each port. Yeah, it's just a lot about how to cope if you're traveling with somebody with special needs, or if you're traveling alone, if you're traveling with small children, if you're traveling with senior citizens. So, we've really tried to anticipate any question that somebody might have and answer it. And I spend a lot of time monitoring social media for various questions about Disney Cruise Line. And then when we see questions that get asked over and over and over again, I'm like, oh, that's something we need to write about this year, because that's something people are not understanding. So we added a section on the on photography this year, because a lot of people were like, should I get the photo package? Is it worth it? How much does it cost? Why would I do this? Why would I not do this? So if, I spend pretty much half an hour every day just reading social media stuff about people planning Disney cruise trips, and I see what questions people are asking, and then if I see it happens a lot, it goes in the book.
Sounds a good idea to me. And there are always questions that get asked over and over, and it is a useful place to have all the answers in one place rather than Googling them every time.
Yeah, and then you can refer back to it and that sort of thing. And we try to be very honest. I keep going back on Disney cruises, and so I do love it, but there are things that I think that they could do better, and we're pretty honest about that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's like everything with Disney. There are things that are for you and things that are not, and things that you'd like to see Disney improve and they possibly haven't done.
Yeah, and they make changes all the time, and that's why we do a new edition every year. So, like for instance, on the Wonder, they about 2 years ago they changed one of the restaurants. There's one now themed to Tiana's Place, the film Princess and the Frog. And so, when the changes happen, we talk about those. And so even if you've been on a Disney cruise, but you haven't in several years, or you're doing a new trip, a new ship, there might be things for you to learn there as well.
And obviously, one thing that we are going to have to mention before we finish is with regards to passing on illness while you're on the Disney Cruise Line, because at the moment, obviously on the news, you can't go anywhere without seeing things about coronavirus.
Right.
And there has been other cruise lines that have had port permission refused. Is there a latest update with regards to that?
On every Disney Cruise Line sailing, there's as you're at the port, there's a health and safety questionnaire that you have to sign, like attest to the veracity of what you're saying. Mm-hmm. And they've changed it recently, and they change it whenever there's like a new sort of global health threat. So for instance, the basic one is like, does anybody in your party have a fever? Has anybody in your party had gastric distress in the last 3 days? That sort of thing. And you have to answer honestly. Now they're doing a much more detailed questionnaire and a scan of people's passports, which is new. So they're looking, and they ask you, have you been to China in the last month or so? And they're looking at passports for stamps now to make sure. But Disney is cleaning constantly. I've been covering Disney Cruise Line really thoroughly for 7 or 8 years, and I've only heard of one instance where they had sort of a ship-wide illness thing. And when I say ship-wide, it was like 20 unrelated people, not like a whole ship full of unrelated people. And it was one minor thing of norovirus on the Wonder many years ago. They are scored by several independent health agencies every year, and Disney always ranks at the very top for cleanliness and that sort of thing. So they're doing everything they can. There are always risks with anything, but they're doing everything they can.
I must admit, it's comforting to know that information, but being on the ships before, I see the constant sort of barrage of cast members not allowing you in a restaurant until they see you were either washing your hands or anti-backing your hands. You know, they will probably wrestle you to the ground to make sure that you will get in that restaurant with clean hands.
Right, absolutely. And they and then if there's any hint of any illness on the ship, they will start to do things like not let guests serve themselves at things like the drink fountains or the soft serve ice cream up on deck. So on most of the time, like there's a ice cream dispenser up on the pool deck, and most of the time a guest can go up and just sort of make themselves a cone anytime they want. But if there's any hint of illness anywhere on the ship, there'll be a gloved cast member there who will pour your ice cream for you. You know, your make your cone. They like stop all guests touching things basically that involve food or, you know, anything potentially contaminating, which, you know, they step in immediately to do that. So that's another thing. And, you know, really, you'd be hard pressed to walk through a ship and not find somebody cleaning something. So they do as much as humanly possible.
Well, that's brilliant to know. Well, thank you so much for coming on and answering all those questions for me and putting my mind at rest at all the things that niggle in my mind about things. Would you like to give yourself a bit of a shout out to where people can ask you direct any questions that they have?
The best place to find me is probably on Twitter, and I'm Ms. Erin Foster. So it's MSERINFOSTER on Twitter. And you can get the Unofficial Guide to Disney Cruise Line. I know you can get it on Amazon in the UK. I assume maybe some larger bookstores, but definitely on Amazon.
Yeah, and we have links for that over on our website, DisneyDreamGirls.com, just in case. Save you a few minutes of your precious time. But until we chat again, thank you ever so much for coming on and chatting Disney Cruise Line with us, Erin. Thank you.
Anytime. Let's make it not 2 years next time.
Annual event.
Okay.
Thank you, lovely.
Where dreams begin.
So a quick plug now for the Unofficial Guides. They don't just do the cruise line. They've got Disneyland, they've got Walt Disney World, they've got Universal. They are a great source of information. Disclosure, I do get one sent for free. I will be totally upfront and honest about that. But even if I didn't, I've got 15 years full of these books anyway on my shelf that I have personally purchased out of my own pocket, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody unless I felt it was good. So both Jane and I have bought these books in the past. And,
definitely.
you know, if you want in a guidebook to help you with your Disney trip or Universal trip, I highly recommend them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you've heard it from us. Last week we did have a bit of a gripe about live action, Jane.
We did, yes.
But tonight, when I got home from work and I was thinking about the show, I had a little bit of a watch of the trailer for Mulan, and I know I normally don't do this. Oh my word.
Yeah, I have seen the trailer as well, Michelle.
Are we excited?
Actually, I am a little bit, because I think they've just taken the story and then gone with the story, not trying to remake. That makes sense.
And come on, who could not resist a powerful lead female character that does 360s, can handle a sword, looks pretty darn attractive, but also has a good moral fibre and backbone about her?
I mean, kind of perfect female role model, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I never really gelled with the animated version. I don't
Did you
know
not?
whether it was the style of the animation or the darkness or something. It just never... It's only one I've only probably watched twice.
Yeah, I have to admit, it's not one that I know as well as I would most other animations. I'm probably in the same boat as you, Michelle. It'll be a handful of times that I'll have watched it, if that, yeah.
Why don't we share the trailer with everybody now so you get a flavour of what the film's about?
Cool.
Do you know why the Phoenix sits on the right hand of the Emperor? She is his guardian, his protector. That she's both beautiful and strong. Your job is to bring honor to the family. Do you think you can do that?
Citizens, we are under attack from northern invaders.
Their leader calls himself Ori Khan.
Fights alongside a witch.
No survivors. By edict of His Imperial Majesty, Every family must contribute one man to fight.
Have you no son?
I am blessed with 2 daughters. I will fight.
We must be strong. This time it will not return. Loyal, brave, and true. It is my duty to protect my family.
Ancestors, please protect her.
What is your name, soldier?
Hua Jun, Commander, son of Hua Zhou.
We're going to make men out of every single one of you.
Close the gate!
The spirit is evident, but something holds you back.
When they find out who you are, they will show you no mercy. I'm Hua Mulan. I will bring honor to us all.
Jane, I am virtually welling up. The music.
Mm.
The music does it every time. What a powerful, meaningful song.
Oh God, yeah. It gives you the goosebumps, doesn't it?
Yeah, literally hairs on the back of my neck popping out, and you can't help but feel and think about things and people in your life that have impacted on you and perhaps aren't here anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. It gets all those emotions going.
Strangely, this film is going to be released in the UK and USA on the same day.
No.
Yeah, 27th of March.
Crikey, that's a first, isn't it?
I know. And guess what? Shelley's got a date for her knee surgery.
Ah.
23rd of March.
Oh, so this is going to be recuperation time then, isn't it, Shell?
This is going to be a rare thing. I am going to go to the cinema, and I'm going to go to one of those cinemas that have those seats that recline back and then a little footrest goes up. And me and my poorly knee can sit and enjoy this amazing film.
Ah, talk about perfect timing for you.
It is, but if you are in the theme parks from the 20th of March, you will get an extended preview available. So,
Oh, okay.
lucky people. So anyway, let's move away from Mulan,
Okay.
because we've been chatting on the show quite a while and we've not mentioned food.
Yeah, it would be wrong, wouldn't it, really, if we let a show go by without one little mention of food.
Yeah. Now, the Disney dining plan has brought out 4 different ways you can go now.
Right.
It sounds complicated, but actually when you look at it, it isn't. Now, there are 2 types of people, in my opinion, that would use the Disney dining plan. The person who uses it as a personal challenge to get every cent from their dining plan. And the person that wants to have the dining plan paid for upfront so that when they're on holiday, they don't need to worry about paying.
Yeah,
Am
that's
I right?
me. Yeah, that second one is me, yeah.
Yeah, so we're on each other different camps because I like to get the sense from Disney. So when I go away to Disney, I don't tend to get to be able to book at the time where there are free dining promotions.
No.
So normally you'd have to add it as an extra. So
Yes.
I have got those cost prices now for what they would be, which are accurate as today's recording date.
Okay.
When I book and sort out my holiday, I work on the basis of around about $50 per day for food.
Right.
Some days I will probably not spend anywhere near that and probably just have maybe 2 or 3 snacks and a counter service, maybe spending about $40. Some days I might go for a meal and that'll be like $65 and I might get a couple of snacks. But over the period of the vacation, I would average out about $50.
Yeah.
So for me, the first plan, the quick service dining plan, $55 per adult, I don't think is too out there.
No, I would agree.
All dining plans get yourself a refillable mug, which is available for use during your vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take it back on future trips because it won't work.
Won't work, no.
But you can take them on the Disney Cruise Line and use them there.
Oh, okay.
Because Disney Cruise Line allow you to go up to the beverage stations and fill up a beverage cup.
Mm.
And to be honest, the ones that they provide you are little tiny ones. So the refillable ones are great because it saves you going up and down, up and down. So for your $55, you get 2 counter-service meals and 2 snacks.
Okay, yeah.
So if you work on the basis of your 2 counter-service snacks coming to $40 and then your snacks coming to $10, I think you can actually get value from that.
Yeah, I would agree.
Particularly if you go in somewhere like the Polite Pig, where you can have a main and it's about $20 to $23.
Mm.
And your snacks could be about $6, $7. We've even seen snacks at $8 before.
Yeah.
So you can really get the value from that one.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Michelle.
But for me, it doesn't fit my style of eating because it's quick service, counter service food every 2 meals a day.
Mm.
I think it was ideal for a family, though, who didn't want to have character meals, didn't want to have table service, and they were just wanting to be on the go the whole time. Maybe it's a weekend trip. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it depends on your style of eating, doesn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
The next one up is the standard dining plan.
Okay.
This one comes in at $78.01. And this is a marriage, I think, of the next tier up and the tier below, where you get a 1 counter service, 1 sit down, 2 snacks, and of course your mug.
Right.
Now, if you like perusing Disney menus, as us dream girls do, you can probably work out there are places where you can get an entree for $45.
Mm-hmm.
Then you add in your sit-down meal, you're at $65. Add in your snacks, ka-ching, you can get your value.
Yeah.
Particularly on some of those character meals as well.
Yes, true.
Would that suit you and your family's way of eating?
We've always preferred to do the quick service, to be fair.
But when you've done the quick service before, you were not keto. Now you're keto. Keto and quick service would limit your choices.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we're going to have to look at as and when we make that next trip booking, as to whether or not, A, if there's any freebies going, and B, I will need to do a bit more research into exactly what food options there are and what we'd be happy going with. Because it may not be prudent for us to actually do the dining plan because of how we want to eat and how we do eat, especially because, you know, with being keto, Simon and I particularly can often find that 1 meal a day is sufficient. We don't actually need 2 meals per day. So if that is the way we're going, then anything with 2 meals per day probably isn't worth our while going for. Interesting to have a look at, do a bit more deeper delve into that, actually.
But then you've got the carnivorous teenagers.
Well, they can pay for themselves.
That's a good point. But everybody on the booking has to do it.
I know, and that's going to be could be a sticky wicket for us.
Unless you book them as two separate bookings where you guys have yours.
Yeah.
You book the kids for theirs. Because they're not kids really, they're adults.
No, they're not. They are adults, and that may well be the way we'll have to do it anyway to get the rooms we want and that type of thing. So, because they want to come with us, because they like us, strangely.
How weird is that?
I know, it kind of makes life complicated. It's we have talked about our next trip being a bit more of a military operation, not actually while we're there, just getting us there and figuring out what the bob we want to do with it, or, you know. So, true. But yeah, throw dining plan into that equation as well. Then you've got a whole other set of things to be thinking about.
Then you've got your Disney Dining Plan Plus.
Right. So what are you getting for this one then?
$94.61. So it's getting up there. But if you are a foodie, wow. This one is a gem. If you want to go and hit some of those signature restaurants that are 2 dining credits, this could be the way for you. But what they've done now is made it a little bit flexible.
Okay.
You don't have to have 2 table service meals.
Right.
You could have 2 meals.
Okay.
Whether it's sit down or table. Now, personally, I think you would be wrong in your head paying out of pocket $94.61 to get 2 counter service meals, which you could probably pay $40 for.
Yeah.
When you could go somewhere and have a delicious steak twice a day.
Yeah. I mean, it's great that they've got that flexibility in there, but I say it kind of defeats the cost aspect of it, doesn't it?
But I think for people who want to go and hit those high-end restaurants, this is great because, you know, you're not going to want to do that every day, and you could use up your 2 credits. You get 2 snacks with it. For me, that's ample. You could have a really good breakfast in a morning and then a lovely dinner on an evening somewhere. Perfect. The last but not least plan is the deluxe Disney dining plan.
Right.
$119, and for this you get 3 meals of your choice, whether counter or sit down.
Right, okay.
And then you get a refillable mug.
Should think so.
Those are the prices, guys. Those are the options. Let us know what you think. Do you always like to include it because you're like Jane? You want to have not the worry of paying for your meals at the end of the meal? Or are you like me, where you use it as a personal challenge to get the value? Or are you just a super foodie and you like to eat round all the signature restaurants?
Well, I suppose this thing, isn't it? There's lots of ways to look at this, and there's lots of benefits for it if you are going to use it. But like we've always said, Michelle, it's that element of think long and hard. If you're buying this, it's not coming as a freebie with your package deal, or Disney aren't offering the freebie at the time. Just look at the cost element involved and just wait. I know it can be a bit of a what's it to do, but just work out whether it is actually worth your while paying out for it. Because if you're not going to take advantage of it, like you say, if you're not going to seek out those high-end prices or the character whatever, then just make sure you're getting your bang for your buck.
I would never personally go unless I got it free.
Yeah, and that's what we've always said as well, yeah.
For me, how I eat, it is just better value to pay out of pocket.
Yeah.
And not be confined, I've got to have 2 table services, I've got to have 2 of this or whatever. But interestingly enough, last year when Tom and I went to Walt Disney World, we had a deal where it was a quick service meal and you got 1 a day, and it was technically a breakfast, but we used it as any quick service meal.
I remember this. Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be available on Virgin anymore for new bookings.
Right.
Maybe it's to do with Disney realised Michelle was trying to bankrupt them by getting an alcoholic drink and a main and getting about $35 worth of value at every meal from it.
Have they not been listening to our show, Michelle? Do they not know you by now?
I know. I use it as a personal challenge to get value for money because I'm from Yorkshire, and Yorkshire people are renowned for being a bit tight with the brass.
I was going to say a bit careful, Michelle, but yeah, could say that.
Yeah, but you know, darling, when I want to be kind with things and buy things for people, I do look after people.
You do, yes.
Anyway, my lovely.
Yes.
I'd like to just finish that off there and just linking in a little bit to our Patreon supporters. Massive thank you to everyone who has continued to support us. We are so grateful. During the month of March, you are going to get at least 2 bonus shows. The first one was a fab review of the Frozen dessert party, plus Jane and I having a little bit of chit-chat, a little bit more off-tangent about what's going on with us at the moment. And then our second one is a review of virtually everything you can eat at the Food and Wine Festival over at Disney's California Adventure. If you're interested in getting a little bit of extra Disney Dream Girls, plus helping us keep the show sponsor-free, advert-free, etc., why not pop on over to Disney Dream Girls on patreon.com/Disney Dream Girls. Anyway, let me share some social media links for you. You can find our show links with all the information and some pictures from today disneydreamgirls.com. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at DisDreamGirls. And finally, you can email us info@disneydreamgirls.com. Now, we do have a Facebook page, Disney Dream Girls, but we also have the Disney Dream Girls podcast family, and we'd love to invite you to join us, chat and share your Disney with everybody else. But anyway, until next week, it's a goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
This podcast is part of the After Dark Podcast Network.